So as you can tell from the intro, we are starting our very first race for the Manufacturer Cup Series as we are switching teams from the Mercedes to the Honda, as we're going to be racing in the Honda NSX for the season of our Manufacturer Cup. So the reason why I made the switch was because I looked at the schedule for the Manufacturer Cup and I saw that a lot of tracks were a lot of handling dependent tracks, not really reliable on the power, except for maybe like Fuji or the Spa. But other than that, all the other tracks are really primarily handling tracks. So with the Honda NSX, it's a really good car handling wise, but just for the tracks that need a little bit of power, we can also use the power of the NSX, as it's just a really well balanced car. So that should help us out throughout the season, and hopefully we can get a really good finish with the Honda NSX. So starting here for the season, we are at Suzuka as we are paired with S rank drivers and A rank drivers, so it's going to be a very, very competitive lobby. We're just going to have to make sure we make no mistakes, implement our strategy correctly, and hopefully come out with a really good finish on this race. Feeling very, very confident. Suzuka is a really good track of mine, and especially with this car. This car is pretty good on this track. There's some other cars that are a little bit faster, but hopefully we can, again, just come out with a good finish as we come into qualifying. So before we jump into qualifying, if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into qualifying. So finishing our first flyer lap, we're coming to the final chicane as we were trying to stay right behind the Porsche throughout the lap and try to gain some time, but we were unfortunately unable to do that. So coming to the final corner, let's see where we finish at. We get a 208.2, not good enough for a first place, but let's see if we can try to get another one as we come down into the final corner for our second flyer lap. Let's see what we can get, see if we can improve our time. We actually don't. We get a 208.7, so that's not going to help us out here, as we're going to wait for the end of qualifying and get confirmation to see where we're going to start off for the race. As right now we are in 9th place, just waiting for that confirmation now, and there we go. So starting 9th place for the race, not too shabby. Wish we could have been a little bit higher up, but we can manage with a 9th place. Better than 15th or 16th. So coming to the lobby now, let's see how much points we're going to be racing for, as we're waiting for the race to start now. Coming to the points, we're going to be racing for 229 points if we get first place. So let's try to see if we can try to at least get third or second, as we can get 210 points if we get third place as we jump up into the intro. So coming into the intro, the strategy that we're going to implement here is we're going to start on the softs all the way until about lap 8 or 9. We were running about 209s in practice, so if we could stay around the 209 210 range, we'll stay on the softs all the way until we get to about the 211 range, and then we're gonna have to come in, switch off to the mediums, run the mediums all the way until about lap 13 or the final lap, switch off from the mediums to the hards, and see if we can try to get a good finish on this race. So coming into the race here, we're getting our countdown now as we're coming towards the final corner now, heading down to the start finish line. As you can see, we have a Renault right in front of us. We're trying to stay behind them on the slipstream so we can catch up to them, as we're going to see a huge train of cars right ahead of us going into turn number 1. We're staying right behind the Renault, as we are just going to file in line, just try to carefully navigate our way through the S-curves. You can see 2 cars ahead of us are actually fighting with each other. One car actually goes out, it's the Porsche. The Porsche runs into the Renault. We go out wide as we try to avoid the Porsche. We run into the Renault, and we actually lose a position there, but we're able to gain from the Renault. So we're in 9th now, as the Alpha was able to overtake us as we head out of the S-curve. So already drama happening in the first sector of the first lap, as we're trying to gain on the Porsche now, as he got a really bad exit coming out of that left-hander. Heading into Degner 1, we're making a move onto the inside, but we're going to back out of there. Braking right before the 50, and we actually lose it right there as we clip the grass. Make contact with the BMW. As you see, this is what happened right in front of the BMW. He was able to somehow keep it onto the track as he overtakes us heading into Degner 2. And now we're trapped back in 10th place, as we lost 2 positions there on the S-curves, and now off of Degner 2 as we head into the hairpin. Staying right behind the BMWs, almost make a little bit of contact with him. And we're going to file back in line here, as we're going to try to stay right behind him and hopefully catch up to the cars right ahead of us and make up all the position and time that we lost from that first sector. So coming into Spoon Curve for the first time now, we're still right behind the BMWs. He goes a little bit wide coming out of the Spoon Curve. We're trying to make a move onto the inside, give him a little bit of a tap as we head down the straightaway, and he's able to go away from us as we are able to help him out with that little bump there as we come down the straightaway heading into 130R. So very, very entertaining first lap already, as we had a lot of drama happen. We're back in 10th now, so we have to focus on just running all our lines as best as we can, avoiding any type of mistake, and just try to navigate our way through the field and hopefully catch up to the top spots and try to fight them. As you can see, a car has actually came into the pits, so car comes into the pits. It's going to switch off from the hards to another compound, most likely either the mediums or the softs, but we're going to make a move now onto the inside of the BMWs. We're heading down the straightaway, going into turn number 1. We're going side by side now. Brake very late, and we're able to make the overtake there as the BMW tried coming back onto the outside, but we're able to cover him now as we come out of turn number 2, heading into the S-curves, and we're able to make our way into 8th place. So 2 positions there in the span of 1 corner. And now we set our sights on the top 2, or not the top 2 cars, but 6th and 7th as we head into Spoon Curve. Now coming out of Spoon Curve, you can see the 2 cars ahead of us are fighting side by side, so hopefully that can slow them down as we fast forward here into 130R. Still fighting side by side as we head into the final chicane. They beat and banging with each other as they're making contact now as we're coming into the final chicane. Coming out of the final chicane, they're still going side by side, and they're still making contact with each other as we come out of the final corner. And they have slowed each other down, so now that's going to allow us to catch up to them as we're in the slipstream, heading down the straightaway, leading us into turn number 1. They're going to go side by side now as we head into turn number 1. Let's see if that's going to cause any issues here as we come down here. But no, the Porsche is able to overtake the Alpha now as we come out of turn number 2. And now we're still right behind them as we head into the S-curve. So fast forwarding here, you see the top 2 cars have just lost a ton of time since they were fighting with each other as we head into Degner 1. And that's going to allow us to just stay right behind the Alpha, save some fuel here as we head into the hairpin, and just stay in their slipstream, save some fuel and save some tires. And hopefully we can try to get around them before our first pit stop on lap number 8 or lap number 9. So coming out of the hairpin, the Alpha is able to re-overtake the Porsche there as we're coming to this straightaway. That's going to lead us into Spoon Curve. We're staying right behind the Porsche now. And I'm not looking to overtake him here. It's just no good areas to overtake as we are coming to Spoon Curve. But if we get the chance, we'll try to make the overtake. As you can see, it goes a little bit wide, but we fall back in line. Just too costly to try to make an overtake here. So anything can happen. He can bump us down, and we can make contact with the grass and spin out, or we can bump him out wide, which is something we don't want to do. So we fall back in line as we head down the straightaway, leading us into 130R. Staying right behind him on the slipstream as we head into 130R. The Porsche actually is losing time, and we're able to make a move onto the inside. We weren't trying to make that move up, but we go a little bit wide as we come out of 130R, and we are able to hold off 7th place from the Porsche, as that was honestly an unscripted move. We weren't even trying to make a move onto 130R. For some reason, he lost ground on the Alpha. I'm not sure if he bumped the Alpha and then just lost speed, but we were able to just dive into the inside, make the overtake, and now we're in 7th place as we head into lap number 5. So coming into the first corner again, we set our sights on the Alpha, see if we can try to gain some time on him as we come into the first corner. But you see the Porsche is still all right behind us, so we got to be careful with him as we come into the S-curves, as we don't want to allow the Porsche to make any type of move onto the inside as we come into the S-curves now. Just trying to navigate our way as patiently as possible and try to catch up to the Alpha. We get bumped out from behind a little bit as we come into the right-hander. We make contact with the Porsche to see what happened on the replay. You see he makes contact with us. We go a little bit wide, clip the grass, and we lose grip there as we head into the right-hander. We make contact with the Porsche, and the Porsche gets spun out. Very, very unlucky there for him, as we were just trying to keep it onto the track, but since we hit the grass, we just lost so much grip heading into that right-hander, and we're able to now secure 7th place as the Porsche gets taken out from us. So coming into Spoon Curve now, we're on lap number 7, and we have lost a ton of time to the Alphas due to the incident that we had with the Porsche. Coming into 130R now, we're going to see if anybody's going to come into the pits here as we come into 130R, just taking it very, very easily as we're still trying to gain time on the Alpha, but we actually clip the grass going into the chicane and we lose it, and it resets us back in 8th place. So a costly mistake there as we are now lost a position to 7th place, and you can see 6 is coming in, 2 pit stops there, and we lose about 7 to 8 seconds because of that mistake. And now we have to set our sights back on 7th place and try to catch up to them, as it's going to be basically a comeback now, as we have to just run really, really fast, avoid more trouble, as that was very, very unfortunate for us, but kind of karma because of probably what happened to the Porsche. But coming into lap number 9 now, we're coming out of the chicane and just trying to navigate our way safely into the pit stops. So we're going to switch off from the softs to the mediums. No fuel is going to be required here, as the fuel consumption wasn't too bad on this racetrack. As we come out of the pits now, we're in 10th place here, right behind the Renault. And so I think the Renault is on old tires, since he wasn't in front of us when we came into the pit stop. So we should be able to catch up to him. As you can see, we're going down the straightaway into 130R. We're now right behind the Renault at the end of lap number 10. So let's see if we can try to make a move onto the inside. He actually gets a half a second penalty, so that's going to be helpful for us. As we come into the final chicane, gain a ton of space on him. As we're coming out of the chicane now, he's going to have to come into the pits. Yes, he does. And we're able to make this move on him as he comes into the pits. And we promote ourselves into 9th place, coming down the straightaway. So jumping into lap number 12 now, we're heading into turn 1 again. You see that 7th place is right ahead of us as we're heading to turn number 1. But there's actually a yellow flag and there's some smoke ahead of us. And the 7th place actually spins out. So let's see what happened here. Just goes in way too hot into turn number 1, spins out. And that allows us to capitalize on that mistake. And we are able to promote back ourselves into 8th place. So crazy turn of events there, as we messed up, lost 8th position, but then the 7th place car messes up and he loses his 8th position. And we're able to make our way into 8th now as we come into the final corner, leading us into the final lap now. We're going to come into the pits here, switch off from the mediums to the hards. Again, no fuel is going to be required on this pit stop. Come out, let's see where we come out at. We come out in 8th place. As you can see right here, that we have a gap in between us and 7th place. So we should be fine here as long as we hit all our marks, make no mistakes, not hit any of the grass and spin out. We should be fine with the 8th place position finish as we're coming into 130R for the final time. Coming to 130R for the final time, we're heading to the chicane, staying away from the grass there so we don't end up spinning out. As you can see, 9th place is still in striking distance. If we make a mistake, he could still overtake us. Coming into the final corner now, we're heading down to the straightaway for the final time. And we're going to finish this race in 8th place, actually 7th, as I think there's a car ahead of us that got a penalty. Yes, there is. The car got a penalty for not changing the tires. You can see he gets a 1-minute penalty, so that's a brand new change that GT Sport put on there. As usually whenever you don't put in a required tire, you only get 20 seconds of a penalty, but I think ever since the Laguna Seca incident, they bumped it up to a minute, which is very helpful for us, as we were able to make an not an overtake, but a position up there. So we're finishing our first race in 7th place. Not too shabby, as we did have a lot of mistakes, so we were able to at least finish ahead of where we qualified at. And that's going to be 172 points towards the championship standings, so can't be upset about that. Again, we made a lot of mistakes and we're still able to finish ahead of where we qualified. Not only that, we still came home with a lot of points, so should help us out in the standings. And very, very excited to see where we're going to be at in the Honda standings after today. So really awesome race, a lot of stuff that happened during the race, really entertaining. Hope you guys really liked it. Again, if you guys really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the videos. It really helps out the channel when you guys do so. And hope to see you guys on the next video. Peace out.